Hey there, Hallmark friends. This is Eric Rutan, the Hallmark Reviewer. Today we're going to talk about Two Tickets to Paradise. Little known fact, I saw Eddie Moneyback in concert when he opened up for The Clash, my favorite band of all time, as well as The Who, back in, I think it was 1986. So I got to see Two Tickets to Paradise live. But who cares? We're here to talk about Ashely Williams and Ryan Paevey starring in Two Tickets to Paradise. Okay, first thing. When first Ashely Williams and Ryan Paevey were announced to star in this, I was a little skeptical. I didn't think they really had the right chemistry. Ryan Paevey, rather conservative, very mellow, ultra mellow in fact. And Ashely Williams, quite quirky, a little all over the place. I didn't think the two of them were going to mesh together. But as we'll talk about, they were fantastic. I think they both sort of met in the middle, and chemistry was awesome in this movie. So what's it about? So basically, both characters on the same day, relatively in the same area, both get dumped on their wedding day. Ashely Williams, full wedding dress. Ryan, I think, was going to be doing the courthouse type wedding there. Regardless, both dumped, boom, out of there. They bump into each other, have a little moment. Ryan talks Ashely into going off onto this adventure and saying, go do your honeymoon alone, recapture your power. That's what she did. Off she went to Hawaii, and crazy enough, who would have ever thunk it, but Ryan Paevey ends up going to the same place, staying at the same resort, both of them right there in Hawaii. So, need to say the whole plot is the two of them hanging out together, getting to know each other, going through their adventures, some of them the adventures at the resort, some of them the emotional adventures of both dealing with their ended relationships. At the end, lo and behold, surprise, I won't tell you what happens, I bet you can guess. First things first, what made this movie what it is? The writing. The writing was absolutely fantastic of this movie. I'd have to go back in time to, let's say, Wedding Every Weekend. That was probably the last movie that had writing that was just as good as this. This was like full out, not Hallmark rom-com good, but just rom-com good. So it was really good, had some really good one-liners in it. The story progressed just as like you would hope. The characters actually developed. There was, it wasn't just in a matter of 24 hours. They decide they love each other and they're going to spend the rest of their life. It really did evolve over time, and it started with them looking internally before they looked outward. There were some themes that went through it. One of them was fate, and that seemed to sort of keep creeping in throughout the whole movie. It also just had to do with love, and how do you love somebody else if you don't really understand yourself first. So you really have to understand who you are, what you want in a relationship, what you can bring to the relationship, and then really what do you want that other person to have on there. And that's really not something you see a lot of Hallmark movies. Mostly it's like, oh, I love you, you love me, you know, you used to be my high school boyfriend, everything's reunited, let's get going. Boom. So in that aspect, it was really good. So the two writers were Tracy Andine. You probably have seen some of her movies. She had 3 of them last year in the 2021 Christmas lineup. She had Kiss Before Christmas. This one had James Denton and Terry Hatcher in it. It actually was one of the movies I liked most in that lineup. It was really cute. Sort of a going back in time type movie. Another one was The Gingerbread Miracle. That actually was my sleeper hit of the whole Christmas series. I loved that movie. Great movie there. And then there was The Very Merry Bridesmaid. It was a cute, fun, more of a typical, what I would say, Christmas Hallmark movie. So 3 of them all pretty good movies. So not a surprise that she brought some really strong writing. But then there was also Kevin Taft. This was his first Hallmark movie, may have been his first major movie in general, but 2 of them paired up and put together a really good story. like I said, the dialogue throughout the movie was great. The story was great. Had ups, downs all along, very plausible. So that's one of the things that I think really set this movie apart. So I have to give it to them for a fantastic storyline. The other thing I talked about was that chemistry. So I wasn't really sure if this chemistry was going to mix between the two of them. But what I have to say is with Ryan, he sort of took his personality and elevated a little bit. I think actually after watching this, I think this movie really is who he is. So if we were to go out and say, hey Ryan, you want to go grab a beer? And I hung out with him for, an evening. I think the personality in this was really who he is. I think his previous movies probably haven't done him justice. They've all put him in this sort of straight-laced, Mr. Darcy type role where he's very monotony, mellow, even-keeled kind of guy. And this one, he had some humor. He wasn't bouncing off the walls. He wasn't quirky and crazy, but he definitely was a fun character. So I think this really probably was the more who he is, and it really showed the match he had with Ashely, because Ashely, as we all know, is a fun, quirky type who sometimes rubs people a little wrong because she's a little too crazy in there, but she brought it down a notch too. So they sort of balanced each other out, and I thought that their chemistry in the movie was absolutely fantastic. One thing I don't know, I haven't confirmed if it's real or not, but I read, if you read it on Google, it's got to be true, right? But I had read that originally this role was supposed to be for Jen Lilly, and Ashely came in when Jen went over to GAC. I actually think if that's true, Hallmark really backed into a great pairing, because I could not imagine two people pulling this off any better. Maybe Paul Campbell and Kimberly Susted, the two of them have that chemistry too that I think just carries and is fantastic. So, all right, so let's just talk about the movie. So one of the things too that I liked about this movie was it had some, like I said, really good lines in there. And it was a little bit saucy for a Hallmark movie. It was not anything that was going to be rated R kind of there, but one of the treats that was throughout the movie was Ryan's character tended to be shirtless quite a bit. He was a surfer dude, so he was walking around shirtless, carrying that surfboard wherever he went. And for the ladies, I think they liked that. So that was pretty good. And Ashely liked it. So her character, Hannah, had made the comment once when he first showed up, and she's like, oh, you're not wearing a shirt. And that's something, usually, even if they're not doing it, it's a little token eye candy. You don't really call it out, but they called it out and nailed it perfectly. And a little later, when he was taken off and they said, hey, we're going to meet up and go do I think it was the three-legged race. She was like, when she said goodbye to him, she's like, oh, and by the way, you don't have to put on a shirt if you don't want to. So, Ashely having that little kind of cute, quirky little lines like that in the movie really gave it her character a little depth and a little fun and a little spice that you don't normally see in a Hallmark movie. So another one I liked of Ashely's was early on when she's in the bathroom. She had just been dumped. She's crying up a storm, sitting in a bathroom stall, just crying, and her sister's trying to talk her into it. And Ashely's like, I think it's because I made them watch Sound of Music. And for me, that personally hit home. It's my wife's one of her favorite movies of all time, and so she makes me watch it all the time. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't really get what's so wonderful and great about it, but apparently it's obviously a very popular movie that a lot of people like. So when she was trying to blame that her fiance Marcus called off the wedding because she made him watch Sound of Music, I just laughed at that one. In fact, I paused it, rewound, called my wife, and I'm like, you got to see this, played it for her, and yeah, she even got a chuckle out of it, even though she's not the biggest Hallmark fan, as you guys all know. So the other thing is with the movie, in addition to having all this great writing and these lines in there too, was just the relationship and how it built. It wasn't this, fast track ramp where, okay, hey, we see each other, it's a love at first sight. they really started going through, and yes, they had the coincidences where they kept running into each other, and so they decided they were going to do this, solo honeymoon together, and they ended up doing a lot of the events because they were couple events or two people events, whatever. And so they did that, but they really were progressing as friends. It wasn't really a romantic thing. Sure, they had like those little moments where they, obviously appreciated the other one for either their straight up looks or for just their personality and what they were bringing. But at the same time, they really weren't, going la la over each other, gaga over each other, whatever. And I really liked how they just really progressed. And it was really, they were self-healing throughout most of the movie. And it wasn't until the end when they really sort of had that other moment, they finally bumped into each other again after they had returned to the mainland and had their back to their normal lives and things like that, where they really decided they were going to be romantic involved. They both had their closure with their other partners. So I'll go back to the writing and say, that's back to Tracy and Kevin's writing. They did a good job of taking the story along a, still Hallmark Universe, but a little more plausible path and stuff like that. So one of the things though about the movie, all the movies, they always have something that's just not quite right, is I really didn't like the mom. The mom twofold. One, from a casting standpoint, in real life, she's, I believe, a couple months older than Ashely Williams, who she was supposed to be, her mom, yet they're essentially the same age. So, but one of the things she did was when she was talking to Hannah, her daughter, is she's talking and, saying, you got to come home, you got to talk to Marcus. And Hannah's saying, why do I have to do this? And she's like, what am I going to talk to him about? She's like, about getting married. And it's like, what kind of mom are you? How are you being supportive? Your daughter stood up at the altar by this guy, and you're saying you still should be marrying him? If that was my daughter, I would be like, hell no, you're not marrying that guy. Boom, he is out of here. So that character, I think they could have written that a little bit better, or they didn't even need to have her. In fact, her and the daughter, her other daughter, like both of those two, I don't know, they didn't really bring too much to the movie to me. One of the other big stars of this movie is Hawaii. It just fantastic scenery. It was beautiful. Made me want to, I'm in Arizona, so it's middle of summer right now, a little toasty. Made me want to just hop on a plane, get over there, hang out on the beach, go swim with turtles, except for I'm definitely afraid of sharks, so don't really want to do that because I'm afraid I'd get eaten by a shark if I was out doing it. But that was really cool. Just going around, looking at the waterfalls and their little bachelor pad honeymoon suite or fantasy suite thing, like that was all beautiful. So that was all cool. Some people I've read, were a little put off by the pink resort where they stayed, and whatever. It's a pink resort, so what? But just Hawaii in general, that was, probably one of the co-star of the movie behind Ryan and Ashely. Then Hawaii was, could win an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor in this one. So the other thing, if you get an IMDb or some of the, Twitter, some of the stuff you'll see, some people complained about the gay couple on there, that there is a newlywed gay couple, and people are off-put by it, by the family values. How can Hallmark keep doing this? They're ruining family values. Kids can't see it. It just annoys me. It's just, seriously, it's 2022. It is family values. Families come in every shape, size, color, sexuality. Just get beyond that. If that's really bothering you, go over to GAC, go into that little bubble. Just leave us alone. Let us have fun. Just go do your thing. Just be quiet. It annoys me. Was the one guy a little over the top? Sure, he was. But, so what? He was funny. The whole characters were funny. The interactions were funny. They're getting ready to do their three-legged race, and, we're on you, we're going to win, and stuff like that. So it annoys me when I see comments like that, going Love Classified, all the hate that movie got, because once again, family values, I just think people who really know what family values are wouldn't be complaining about that. They would know that if two people love each other, then that's family values. So, a little off my soapbox there. All in all, when this movie was announced, you saw commercials like every 4 minutes on Hallmark Channel for it. It was definitely well promoted. I had my concerns, like I say, because of the pairing, the chemistry. I was like, oh, but at the same time, you can't deny that Two Tickets to Paradise. It's just one of those songs. Like, I'm not a huge Eddie Money fan. Like, even though I told you I saw him in person, that was mostly just because he was warming up for the real concert I wanted to go to. But it is a catchy song, that Two Tickets to Paradise. And so the fact Hallmark got to actually use the Eddie Money version is pretty impressive. But, it sort of gets you going and all that. So, so I was torn. I was excited, but then I was like, oh, I'm going to be disappointed, this, that, and the other. And I have to say, movie killed it. What a way to end the June movie, which was, all of them were really good movies as a whole. Mariah's Lighthouse, probably the weakest link, but Hidden Gems, which started out June, was a surprisingly cute movie. I was expecting not to like that, and I thought it was really fantastic. Caribbean Summer, once again, great movie. It was really cute. Hallmark cute and everything like that. I wouldn't put it among the top movies of all time, but it was really cute and held its own. And if you look at, where 2022 had been, it definitely had its share of misses. And so this one was, I think, June was a hit. And with this being really just sort of the crescendo of a great month. Just to wrap up, what do I think? I think it's a definite must-see. It's one of the few movies I can remember in a while where I literally didn't want the movie to end. I was just watching it and, I'm seeing it progress and I was getting like anxious. I'm like, oh no, it's going to come to that conclusion. They're going to end it, whatever. And, I just wanted it to keep going. But regardless, it was a very, very cute movie. As far as ratings, stars, suns, thumbs, hearts, whatever you want to give it, whatever your maximum 5, I would, all the way there. It's one of those movies where if it's on, I'll be watching again. That's one of my tests. If it's a movie that I want to see again, great, that's a really good movie. If it's a movie I want to see again relatively soon after it aired, then that's a great movie. And this is one of them where I watched it on Saturday, Sunday. I saw it airing again, and I think I can watch it again, and off I went. Okay, so there it is. That's my review for Two Tickets to Paradise. It's a must-watch, great movie, great chemistry, great acting, and great writing. So enjoy. Looking forward to Christmas in July, and we'll see what happens there. See you guys later.